A very good afternoon. Today we are going to discuss about the complete classical model. At first I am going to interpret the assumptions of the classical theory of output and employment determination. The first assumption is there is the existence of full employment without inflation. So what does this term full employment mean? It means that in the economy it doesn't mean that all the people are employed. Full employment doesn't mean that unemployment is zero. No, not that is not the case. Full employment doesn't mean that unemployment is zero. Full employment doesn't mean that all the people are employed in the economy. Full employment means there is no involuntary unemployment. No involuntary unemployment. There are two types of employment. There are two types of unemployment. There are two types of unemployment. One is voluntary unemployment and another one is involuntary unemployment. So if I am talking about voluntary unemployment, okay, let me just recorrect it. Voluntary unemployment. Okay, I am just writing it properly. Give me 1 minute. Voluntary unemployment and involuntary unemployment. Now what is the difference between these two concepts? Well, one of my friends is actually preparing for a government job. Now he has already crossed the age of being employed. That means he is ready, or he is actually now the part of the workforce. He is actually now the part of the demographic dividend in India. Now that means if the person has completed the age of 20, that person is actually, or suppose we can for example we can take the age as 24. If the person has crossed this age, that person is actually ready for employment. That person is ready to be part of the workforce. But if that person wants that I will prepare for a government job and I will study now, I will study for 5 years now, till the age of 29 he is actually preparing for the government job and he is not participating in the workforce. So in this case, that person is unemployed, but he is unemployed on his own. He is unemployed according to his will. He is unemployed, but that is his decision. It's not like that he wants to be employed but he is not getting any employment. It's not the case. In this case, he is absolutely happy to be unemployed. So that type of unemployment is called voluntary unemployment, where the person is not wanting the job, where the person is not willing to be employed. Where the person is not willing to be employed, that is called voluntary unemployment. And suppose one of my friend wants a job and he is not getting that because there is there is not enough demand for the labor, or not enough job opportunities in the market. That's why he is not getting any job. So that is basically involuntary unemployment. That involuntary unemployment tells us involuntary unemployment tells us that the person is wishing to get a job, the person is willing to get a job, the person is searching for a job, but he is not getting a job. That means he is unemployed but involuntary, against his will. So voluntary unemployment is he is unemployed but according to his will, according to his or her will. That means he wants to be unemployed, he doesn't want job right now. And in involuntary unemployment, it is against his will. In this case, he wants the job, but against his will he is not getting a job. So when we are talking about full employment, that means it doesn't mean the unemployment is zero. It means that no involuntary unemployment is present in the economy. No involuntary unemployment. We can say that involuntary unemployment is zero in the economy. All the people who are searching for a job will get a job in the economy. So that is the term full employment means. It means in the economy there will be no involuntary unemployment. All the people who are searching for a job will get a job. Okay, but there can be voluntary unemployment. There can be voluntary unemployment in the economy. In full employment there can be voluntary unemployment in the economy. Without inflation means that there is no price rise or no inflation concept in the economy. That is what is being assumed. It assumes long run. What is long run? Long run is basically the time period required for a farm to increase all the factors of production, or to be able to make changes in all factors of production. Suppose if you have a factory and I tell you that today you make 2 units per day, from tomorrow you do one thing, you make 10 units per day. Now overnight, what are the changes that you can make? You can hire new laborers, but you cannot hire new machines overnight. You cannot buy new machines, you cannot buy new land and set up a new factory. You cannot set up all these things overnight. So you need a time. You need a time to change all the factors of production. In case of labor, you can change labor overnight. You can bring new laborers overnight. That yesterday the laborers were suppose 20 in number, today you have 100 laborers. That you can change overnight, right? But to change the other factors of production, that is land, capital, you require time. So the amount of time that you require to change or to be able to make changes in all factors of production is called long run. Is called what? Long run. Okay, so what is long run? Long run is basically the amount of time that is required for a farm to be able to make changes in the all factors of production. If suppose company A and company B, company A requires 5 years to be able to make changes in all factors of production: land, labor, capital, enterprise. So for company A, the long run will be in 5 years. Company B requires 7 years to be able to make changes in the all factors of production. So for company B, the long run will be in 7 years. So long run is not a time concept. It depends on how many time a company or a farm or a production unit requires to be able to make changes in all factors of production. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just erase it so that I can actually prepare it freshly. Okay, so now we are ready. Third assumption is labor is homogeneous. Labor is homogeneous. It means that the quality of the labor is identical. Suppose there are 4 laborers, and if we take the assumption here, what is the meaning of this word homogeneous? So this word homogeneous basically means the quality will be same quality. Homogeneous means of same quality. So suppose we have 3 laborers in a production unit, and the name of the laborers are A, B and C. A is also MA pass, B will be also MA pass, C will be also MA pass. They all have same amount of knowledge, same amount of information, same amount of capability of serving the company or serving the production. They all have the same amount of capability and same amount of knowledge and same amount of perception. That is what is meant by homogeneous. Okay. Now there is perfect competition in the labor and product market. You already know enough about the perfect competition, so that perfect competition not only prevails in the product market, in the assumption of the classical theory, that perfect competition also prevails in the labor market as well. So that is the fourth assumption. There is laissez-faire capitalist economist without any government interference. That is the fifth assumption. That tells us that no government is present. Laissez-faire means no government, and the economy is completely capitalist. Economy is operated by the capitalist, and their main motive is basically to earn profit. So what does it mean? This fifth assumption means no government interference. There is no government in the economy, and the capitalists are basically operating the economy, and their only motive is to earn profit. Next assumption is it is a closed economy without any trade. Closed economy means there will be no import and no export. The trade will not happen. With any country. So that is what we mean by closed economy without foreign trade. This is the sixth assumption. The total output of the economy is divided into between consumption and investment expenditure. Okay. So Y, that is the total output, is basically divided into two parts. So suppose the total output is 200, and that will be divided into two parts. One is consumption, another one is investment. Okay. So consumption will be suppose 150 and investment will be 50. So by adding consumption and investment, we will get the total output of an economy, that is Y. That is the seventh assumption. At the end, I will also tell you that what is basically assumption, why assumption are required, what are the basic requirements of assumption, that I will also tell you. Okay. Now eighth assumption, total quantity of money is given. Okay. Total quantity of money is given, and money is the only medium of exchange. Money is only the medium of exchange. Quantity of money is given. What does it mean? It basically means that money supply, that is the quantity of money, is constant. Money supply will not change. Bank will not print new monies, and whatever money is being supplied is constant, will not change. That is what we understand by the quantity of money is given. And what is the meaning of this line? Money is the only medium of exchange. Money has different functions, as we know. Well, money can be kept in our pocket and can be used for transactions. Money can be kept in our pocket and can be used for precaution, right? Precaution means whenever there is some urgency, medical emergency or any kind of urgency that is in the situations where money is required, we can actually take the help of money and get through from that emergency. So money has several motives. Money can be used as daily transaction, that is called transactionary motive of money. So money can be used to deal with emergency situations, that is called precautionary motive of money. So I am just explaining this a little bit because that is a very important part. MD, money demand. So money demand can be of three types. Why do we require money? Why money is demanded by the people? So the demand for money can be due to transaction motive. Transaction motive means to carry out our daily expenses and daily transactions we can demand money. Precautionary motive. Precautionary motive means suddenly suppose a medical emergency arrived, or any kind of health problem, or any kind of sudden requirement of huge amount of money. For that we basically save a little amount of money, and whenever that emergency comes or that sudden requirement of money comes, we basically fulfill or try to fulfill that demand by the use of that money. So for taking precautions also we demand for money, so that is called precautionary motive. And another one is called speculative motive. For making investments or for saving or for um, putting the money in the share market or bond market, we also demand money, we also require money for that purpose also. That is called speculative motive of money. Now Keynesians, not the Keynesians, sorry, the classicals has actually assumed that money is only the medium of exchange. That means transaction motive only. They haven't assumed or they haven't considered the precautionary motive and speculative motive. They thought and they assumed that money is only serving the purpose of medium of exchange, that is transactionary motive. For carrying out daily transactions, regular transactions, we demand money. That is the assumptions of the classicals. Okay. Wages and prices are flexible. That means wages can rise, prices can rise and fall. Wages can fall and rise also. So that is wages and prices are flexible. That is the ninth assumption, and it is a very important assumption. I will also tell all of you that how full employment is determined by this ninth assumption. Let me just give some star to this assumption because I will come to this point later. 10th assumption, supply creates its own demand. This law is given by J.B. Say, economist J.B. Say, and it is also called Say's law. It is also called Say's law. Okay, and this was the statement that was given by J.B. Say, that supply creates its own demand, and it is known as Say's law. It is the basic fundamental or foundation of the classical economic school. So it means that whatever is being supplied will create its own demand in the market and it will be automatically sold in the economy. Suppose I have made a t-shirt, and if the supply is done, as I have made it, I have prepared the t-shirt, the supply is done, so it will automatically be sold in the market. That t-shirt will be bought by someone in the market, obviously. So whenever a product is supplied, it will be automatically demanded. That was the concept or idea of JB Say. It may sound spurious or it may sound illogical, but whatever they have assumed it. Okay, there is perfect information on the part of all market participants. That means buyers, all market participants, that the buyers and sellers are completely aware about the product. The perfect information means the buyers and sellers have perfect knowledge, have complete knowledge about the product quality, taste, product, uh, all the things about the product quality, taste, and all the things. They have complete idea, complete information about the product. That is the meaning of the 11th assumption. 12th assumption, in the long run there will always be full employment, and if there is any unemployment, then it will be case of short run. Classicals has assumed, we already have distinguished about long run and short run. So classicals has assumed that economy will always be in full employment when it is long run. In short run it can be in um, it can be some unemployment can be present in the economy in short run, but it will not be possible in case of long run. In long run, economy always be in full employment. Equilibrium is determined at full employment. Okay, we will see in the next part that how it will be determined, how equilibrium is actually determined by the full employment level. Next, there is no overproduction and no underproduction. Okay, so no overproduction and no underproduction, it means that the commodity market or goods market will always be in equilibrium. Whatever goods are being supplied are basically demanded. Supply of goods and demand of goods, demand for goods will be equal. Okay, only in this case, when the supply of goods and demand for goods are equal, there will be no overproduction or no underproduction in the economy in long run. No overproduction means, overproduction basically means that supply is more than demand. There are 200 units supplied, but the demand in the economy is only of 150 units. Underproduction means demand is greater than supply. That means 200 units are demanded in the economy, but there are only 100 units supplied. So classicals have assumed that there will be no overproduction and no underproduction. That means demand and supply of goods will be equal in long run. Classical economics term was coined by Karl Marx. Money wages and real wages are directly related and proportional. Okay. I will come to this point later on. Well, I will be basically discussing about the concept of real wage. Okay. Um, um, Savings are automatically invested, and equality between the savings, between the two, I mean between the saving and investment, is brought by the rate of interest. We will also discuss about this point. Capital stock and technical knowledge are given. That means it will not change. Capital stock, the amount of machineries and amount of technical knowledge, that means the technology, will not change. The law of diminishing returns operates in production. Law of diminishing returns basically means that if you increase the factors of production, suppose labor is doubled, output, labor is doubled, capital is doubled. At first you have 3 laborers, now you have 6 laborers working in your company. You have 2 machines, now you have 4 machines. Okay. Land is doubled. You at first have 3 lands, now you have 6 land, assume that. So if you have these 3 things, if you have increased all of these factors of production, then your output can increase by twice, by 2 times. Output can increase by 1.5 times, that is less than 2 times, right? Or output can increase by 3 times or 4 times or 5 times also, right? So in this case, when you have doubled all the factors of production and your output is also doubled, this is the case of constant returns. If your output, you have increased all the factors of production twice, but your output has become thrice, it is tripled, then it is the case of increasing returns. And if your output has fallen, you have increased all the factors of production by 2 times, and your output suppose was 10 and now it has become 15. You have doubled all the factors of production, your output can become double, that is from 10 to 20. Your output can become triple, from 10 to 30. This is IRS, this is constant returns. And if your output becomes 15 from 10, that is actually it is increasing by 1.5 times. That is the case of diminishing returns. So that diminishing returns operates in the production. This is what being assumed by the classicals. Now let me just explain this assumption which is left. So this assumption tells us that let me just make it a little bit easier for you. So suppose there are 2 concepts. One is the concept of nominal wage and another one is the concept of real wage. So nominal wage means how much income you are receiving. What is your wage in the nominal sense? So suppose I am receiving 200 rupees of income monthly. So that is my nominal wage. And real wage basically means what is the amount of product that I can afford by that income. What is the amount of product that I can afford by that wage. So suppose the prices, I assume that there is only one product in the economy. Just for the sake of simplicity, I am assuming that there is only one product in the economy and the price of that product is basically 25. So how much will be the quantity that I can afford of that product? So that will be 200 by 25, that will be 8. So this 8 is basically what? It is my purchasing power. It is my purchasing power means this is the amount that I can purchase. This is the amount of the product that I can purchase from the market. So this is my purchasing power. It is also called real wage. Purchasing power is also known as real wage. I am earning 2000 rupees. I am earning not 2000, I am earning 200 rupees. I am earning 200 rupees, but what will I do with this 200 rupees? How much quantity of the goods in the economy that I can buy by my nominal wage? How much will be the quantity of goods and output that I can buy from the economy by this nominal wage? That will be the purchasing power, and it is also known as real wage. So how this real wage is derived? In the numerator part we have 200, that is nothing but our nominal wage, and in the denominator part we have 25, that is nothing but price. So nominal wage by price is basically the real wage. Okay, so this is nominal wage and this is real wage, that is wage by price, by nominal wage by price. So when this W will increase, wage will increase, this nominal wage will also increase. Let me show you how. This is 200, right? And this 200, this is 200 by 25, that is 8. Now when this wage is increasing, it is becoming, suppose from 200 it is becoming 400. What will happen? Real wage will be 400 by 25, right? And it will now become 16. So when the wage, nominal wage has become doubled, the real wage has also become from 8 to 16. So that means it also has doubled. So that means when the wages are rising by 2 times, the real wage will also rise by 2 times. When the nominal wage is rising by 2 times, the real wage is also rising by 2 times. And if the nominal wage increases by 3 times also, real wage will increase by 3 times. If the nominal wage is increasing by 4 times, real wage will increase by 4 times. So nominal wage and real wages are basically directly related and proportional. Directly related means if wage rises, nominal wage rises, then real wage will also rise, and if nominal wage falls, real wage will also falls. This is the meaning of directly related. And proportional means if nominal wage gets doubled, real wage will also get double. If nominal wage gets triple, real wage will also get tripled. Okay, so this is the interpretation, and all the other assumptions are already done. Now I have two important things that I have to discuss here. Let me just go to the bottom part. Two important things that I have to discuss here. One is, what is assumption, and what is the importance of assumption, why assumptions are required. So basically, if you have to predict any output, if you have to predict any result, if you have to give any theory, if you have to predict any result, some things are supposed, or some things are required to be taken into consideration before, right? How? Suppose I want to predict a theory, or I want to predict a result, or I want to give a theory, and my theory is basically the fight between Rajkumar Rao and Salman Khan. So Rajkumar Rao is basically a very, he is also a good hero, but he is not. Salman Khan is a very healthy and a very powerful person. Rajkumar Rao is not that much powerful, right? He is a little bit thin and little bit of less body mass. So suppose my theory is basically the fight between Rajkumar Rao and Salman Khan. Now in this theory, I want to predict the result. I want to predict that who is going to win this battle, who is going to win the fight. I want to predict that. Now I am predicting that Salman Khan will win. In my theory, I am predicting that Salman Khan will basically win the battle or win the fight. Now, on what basis can I predict this? So, what are the basis? Can I surely tell that Salman Khan will win? Yes, I can surely tell Salman Khan will win if I can assume some points, if I can take some points for granted. What are those points? The points, suppose Rajkumar Rao will not bring any knife. Will not bring knife. Rajkumar Rao will not bring gun. If they are fighting and Rajkumar Rao brought a gun and shot Salman Khan, then Salman Khan will be dead. And my theory and my prediction, my result, my output will be wrong, will be proven wrong. So if I have to predict Salman Khan will win, I have to make some certain assumptions before that. For being able to predict this result that Salman Khan will win, I have to make some certain assumptions before. What are those assumptions? That Rajkumar Rao will not bring any knife, Rajkumar Rao will not bring any gun, Rajkumar Rao will fight fairly, he will not adopt any wrong techniques. So if I assume all these points, if I make assumption of all these points, if I take all these points for granted, then I can surely predict and tell that my theory will be hold correct and Salman Khan will obviously win and my result of my theory will be completely true. So for being able to predict this proper result, I have to make some certain assumptions, and these assumptions are basically helping us to give the result. So classical theory we will basically find that there are multiple things. There will be equilibrium output and equilibrium employment level that will be determined from the classical theory. But for being able to predict the employment, for being able to predict the equilibrium output and equilibrium employment, at first I have to make some certain assumptions, because without the help of these assumptions, what will happen? I cannot tell surely that Salman Khan will win. In the same way, without the help of these assumptions, I cannot surely predict and give result about the equilibrium output and employment of the classicals. So for being able to predict and give equilibrium output and employment, classicals have assumed these points. Okay. So this is about the assumptions of the classical model. Now I have starred one point. That one point is basically wages and prices are flexible. Now I will show you all of you that how the flexibility of wages and prices is basically leading to the full employment in the economy. I will show all of you how the flexibility of wages and prices is basically leading to the full employment in the economy. One minute. Okay. So if there is no full employment in the economy, then there can be two things. One is demand for labor should be more than supply of labor. That means there are 400 labor required in the economy, but the supply of labor is only of 300. Demand of labor is done by whom? Demand of labor is done by the producers who demands labor. Demand for labor is done by whom? By the producers who demands labor. And supply of labor is done by whom? Supply of labor is done by the laborers. Supply of labor is done by the laborers who makes them available, or who makes their services available to the producer. Okay, so always remember this, the demand for labor is done by the producers and supply of labor is done by the laborers. So there are 400 laborers required in the production process, and the producers are demanding for 400 laborers. But in the market there are only 300 laborers making themselves available for work, and there are only the supply of 300 laborers. And there can be an inverse situation also, where the demand for labor is less than supply of labor, right? Suppose there are 200 laborers or laborers required, but in the market we have the supply of 300 laborers. What will happen in both of this situation, and how full employment will reach in both of these cases? We will see that. How full employment is reached in both of these cases, we will try to find out that. So if the demand of labor is greater than the supply of labor, in that case what will happen? See, from the producer's perspective, The producer is actually observing that there are 400 laborers that I want in the production process, but in the economy there are only availability of 300 laborers. So producer will basically increase the wages because he is not finding proper amount of laborers. The producer is not finding proper amount of laborers, and when these wages will increase, that means cost of production will increase. Cost of production will increase. Now when the cost of production will increase, the price will increase, right? How? Let me just say this, that when suppose the cost of production at first was 20 rupees, and the selling price was basically 45 rupees, so the profit will be 25 rupees. Now the cost of production has increased as wages has increased, so the cost of production has now become 25. Now the profit has remained with 20, but the producer is of capitalist motive. He will not sacrifice his profit, he will try to keep his profit same. So basically the producer in this case will try to keep his profit same, and in this attempt of trying to keep his profit same, the producer will basically increase the price of the product. How? um, Now he will basically not sell the price of the product. He will not basically sell the product at 45 rupees. Now he will basically increase the price to 50 rupees, and if the price is increased to 50 rupees, the profit will actually be back at rupees 25 again. So why this price is increased? To keep same profit, to keep same profit. Now when prices increases, what will happen? When prices increases, demand or aggregate demand, that is the total demand in the economy of the product, will fall. And when aggregate demand falls, what will happen? Aggregate demand becomes less than aggregate supply. Demand for that good is less than the supply of the good. So the supply is more, demand is less. What will happen if the supply is more and demand is less? So in that case, the producer is actually observing that he has made suppose 500 products, but only 200 of those products are sold, and the 300 products are still remaining in his voluntary stock. So he will basically fire the laborers. He will basically fire the laborers. The supply of labor is uh, he is basically firing of labor. So firing of labor means what? Firing of labor means the demand for the labor by the producer, the demand for the labor by the producer will basically fall, and this demand for the labor from 400 it will come back to 300. It will become equal to the supply of labor, and we will reach full employment. We will reach full employment level, which is basically demand for labor and supply of labor are equal. We can see from this portion also. In this case, the producer is seeing that demand for labor is less than supply of labor. In this case, the producer will actually observe that there are many people who are ready to work, and he doesn't even require all those people. He just need 200 people to work, 200 labor to work, and in the market there are 300 laborers searching for work. So he will immediately cut down the wages. So cost of production in this case will be falling. So the prices in this case will be falling. When the prices have fallen, what will happen? Aggregate demand will rise, and when aggregate demand will rise, aggregate demand will be more than aggregate supply. So now producer requires more demand. Now producer is seeing that he has made 300 units of product, his supply is 300, but in the market the demand is of 800 products. So now he thinks that he should make new products, I mean not new products, but he should make more products, because the demand in the market is very high. So he will hire new laborers, and hiring new laborers means what? Hiring new laborers means demand of labor will be demand of labor will rise. So in that case, the demand of labor from 200 it will soon reach 300, and it will be equal to the supply of labor, and we will again reach the level of full employment. Now this full employment level, in the long run, economy always will be in the full employment level as per the classicals. But why is it happening? Why in the long run the economy is always at full employment level? So this is answered by the price flexibility and wage flexibility. As the wages and prices are flexible means they can fall or they can rise. As the wages and the prices are flexible, they can fall or they can rise. That is the only reason that the economy is actually being at the full employment, or economy is actually reaching the level of full employment. Okay, so if these two things, that means the wages are rising and the prices are also wages are changing and the prices are also changing. If these two things doesn't happen, then economy can never reach full employment in the long run. But as classicals have assumed that wages and prices are flexible, they can change, they can rise or they can fall. That's why the economy is reaching at full employment level, that is demand for labor and supply of labor is equal in the long run. So now I hope you all have understood the point of full employment, and you have also might have understood the importance of this assumption, that the wage price flexibility assumption of wages and prices are flexible. I hope all of you have understood this assumption now. So this is the first class of the classical theory of employment and income determination, employment and output determination, and in the next class we will be discussing about the derivation of the model. Thank you.